Most people spend their lives trying to earn more. A better salary, a higher position, a raise that finally makes things easier. And for a while, it often does. Bills get paid with less stress. Daily life feels more comfortable. There is a sense of movement, of improvement. But over time, many people notice something subtle and unsettling. Their income has increased, yet their freedom has not. They still depend on showing up every day. They still feel pressure to maintain what they've built. They still feel uneasy stepping away, even briefly. They may earn more than they ever imagined, yet they feel more fragile than they expected. Others, sometimes earning less on paper, seem calmer. They are not rushed. They are not anxious about small disruptions. They have options. This difference is not about intelligence. It is not about effort, and it is not about discipline. It comes from a misunderstanding about what income really is and what it is not. Income is useful. Income is necessary. But income alone is fragile. It depends on time. It depends on energy. It depends on continued participation. Wealth is different. Wealth is not about how much you earn in a moment. It is about how long your life can continue without constant effort. Income keeps things running. Wealth creates stability. Many people confuse movement with progress. They see money coming in and assume they are moving forward. But if that money flows out just as quickly, nothing durable is being built. Understanding this distinction does not change behavior overnight. It changes how decisions feel, how risk is perceived, how time is valued. Income is active. Wealth is durable. Income requires action. You work, you receive money, you repeat. As long as the action continues, the income continues. When the action stops, the income stops. Wealth exists differently. It remains even when activity slows. It does not disappear the moment you step back. This does not mean doing nothing. It means separating survival from constant effort. Imagine someone with a well-paid job. As long as they show up, everything works. If they take time off, income pauses. If the job disappears, income disappears. Now imagine someone who has built a modest base over time. Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy, just consistent accumulation. Some savings, some investments, a structure that exists beyond their daily presence. Even if their job changes, something remains. Another example is quieter but just as revealing. Think of a freelancer who earns very well but saves nothing. Every month begins at zero. Every break feels dangerous. Now, think of another freelancer earning slightly less, but who gradually builds reserves and long-term assets. One feels constantly alert. The other feels grounded. Income moves. Wealth stays. When income increases, lifestyle often follows. A nicer car, a larger home, more subscriptions, more conveniences that quickly become necessities. This feels like success. And socially, it often looks like success. But security has not increased. It has simply become more expensive. One person earns more and upgrades everything at once. Monthly obligations rise. Any interruption becomes stressful. A delayed payment, a short illness, a market slowdown. Another person earns the same raise but changes nothing outwardly. They keep their costs stable. They allow margin to grow quietly. Over time, that margin becomes invisible protection. Here is another common scenario. Someone receives a bonus and immediately rewards themselves. A trip, a purchase, a celebration. Another person receives the same bonus and treats it as temporary. They do not build their life around it. They store it, invest it, or use it to reduce risk. Years later, the difference is not in memories. It is in resilience. Lifestyle expands easily. Security requires restraint. When income is the only support system, dependency forms. Not emotional dependency, structural dependency. Decisions become constrained. Risk becomes threatening. Change becomes frightening. People begin to tolerate things they otherwise would not. Wealth introduces choice. Choice to pause. Choice to say no. Choice to rethink direction without panic. An employee with no financial buffer tolerates unhealthy conditions. They accept pressure, long hours, and poor treatment because they must. Another employee with even modest reserves experiences the same pressure differently. They are less reactive. They speak more calmly. They are not negotiating from fear. Here is another example. Someone stays in a city they no longer enjoy because leaving feels too risky. Another person, with accumulated flexibility, moves when it feels right. Same income level, different internal experience. Dependency narrows life. Choice expands it. Income usually grows in steps: a raise, a promotion, a job change. Each step requires effort. Each step has limits. There are ceilings, often invisible until reached. Wealth grows differently. Slowly at first, almost invisibly, then steadily, then meaningfully. This is not luck. It is time working alongside consistency. One person saves and invests quietly for many years. No excitement, no dramatic moments. Another person constantly seeks higher income, but every increase is absorbed by higher spending. At first, the second person appears more successful. They move faster. They upgrade sooner. But over time, the quiet path overtakes the loud one. Here is a second example. Someone invests small amounts regularly, even when it feels insignificant. Another person waits for the perfect opportunity. Years pass. One has built momentum. The other is still preparing. Linear effort exhausts. Compounding rewards patience. Income solves today. Rent, food, transportation, daily comfort. It reduces immediate stress. It keeps life functioning. Wealth protects tomorrow. It absorbs uncertainty. It softens shocks. It creates room for adjustment. Two people earn the same income. One lives close to the edge. Every expense matters. Every surprise disrupts sleep. The other slowly builds a buffer, not to feel rich, but to feel safe. When life changes, one reacts in panic. The other responds with clarity. Here is another perspective. Income helps you manage predictable costs. Wealth helps you survive unpredictable ones. Income handles now. Wealth prepares for later. Income feels productive. You see it arrive. You feel its effect. You associate effort with reward. Wealth feels quiet. It grows without attention, often unnoticed, sometimes boring. Because of this, many people undervalue it. One person feels productive earning more each year, yet nothing accumulates. Another feels unchanged for a long time, until one day they realize they have options. They can reduce hours. They can wait before deciding. They can choose quality over urgency. Here is another example. Someone checks their bank account often, but never their long-term position. Another person rarely checks daily balances, but understands their overall trajectory. One feels busy. The other feels calm. What feels exciting is not always effective. What feels boring often endures. Income relies on effort. Wealth relies on structure. Structure means decisions made in advance, systems that continue even when motivation fades. It means setting things up so that discipline is not required every day. One person reacts to every financial situation as it arises. They make decisions emotionally, in the moment. Another designs their finances intentionally. They automate. They simplify. They remove unnecessary choices. One feels constantly busy. The other feels oriented. Here is another example. Someone constantly thinks about money because money depends on constant attention. Another person thinks about money less because systems handle much of the work. Effort sustains motion. Design sustains direction. Income is not the enemy. It is often the beginning. It allows stability. It creates opportunity. It makes wealth building possible. But mistaking income for wealth leads to exhaustion and confusion. People run faster without going anywhere. They earn more without feeling safer. True stability comes from what remains when effort slows, from what continues without constant attention. It comes from things that work quietly in the background. You do not need extreme strategies. You do not need urgency. You do not need to abandon safety. You only need to ask quieter questions. What supports me beyond my next paycheck? What reduces my dependence over time? What gives my future self more room? Wealth does not announce itself. It does not arrive with applause. It does not feel dramatic. It grows quietly, patiently, steadily. And once it begins to form, life starts to feel lighter. Not because there is more money, but because there is more space. Space to think, space to choose, space to breathe. Take your time with that idea. It has a way of staying with you.